Welcome to my review for Cars 2 on the Wii. This game reminds me a lot of Jak X Combat Racing on the PS2. It has a very similar setup in the fact that there's different types of racing missions you can go on. So there's standard try and get first place races, there's combat races where you're trying to get first place but there's weapons involved, there's combat arenas where you're just trying to shoot as many cars as possible, there's combat racetracks where you try and shoot as many cars as possible. There's also an option where you have to collect batteries to keep a shield up around your car, and if your battery goes dead then the race is over. So there's lots of different events to take part in. And as I mentioned, the events remind me a lot of Jak X Combat Racing, but intended for a slightly younger crowd, I would think. I mean, the game is easier, at least for maybe the first 2/3. I will admit, by the time you open up your last level of missions that are available, there's a decent challenge waiting for you there. The thing that I think it lacks compared to Jak X, which incidentally holds my current title for favorite racing game of all time, is the intensity. I mean, there's a decent selection of tracks, but none that really stand out as fantastic. And some of them even blend together, kind of adding to their forgettability. And I just didn't find it exciting. Maybe that's because I don't find the Pixar Cars world exciting. A fan of the franchise may feel quite different, but I couldn't get myself really involved in the world that these races and events were taking place in. So as such, the races for me got a little boring. The combat events got a little boring. It's not one of those games where you can say fans will love it, and even if you're not a fan, there's something here for you. No, if you're not a fan, you know what? There's other games that do it better. But if you are a fan and you're interested in picking this up, it does have some pluses. There are special multiplayer events that are available. There's also a good selection of control options, so you can use just the Wii controller, you can use it with the nunchuck, you can use it with the classic controller, which is what I used when I played. And there's lots of things to unlock. This game is also available on PS3 and Xbox 360. I don't know how it compares, but it seems like the whole trophy and achievements kind of carried over to the Wii. Of course, there's nothing online to share them with, but you still have awards and emblems and certain things to do to gain points, as well as unlock new cars. The cars themselves, though, are a little weird. I can never really feel any difference between any of the cars. They had this bar that showed you speed to power, but some of the speed to power ratios didn't seem to make sense if you consider the cars that they were being applied to. I think Guido? I don't know, the little one with the forklift thingies. I always get those two mixed up. He's like the smallest car available, but I think he's the fastest too. But the speed and power differences don't seem to really make that much of a difference anyway, so I'm not sure why it's there. I mean, I didn't really pick up a lot of different sensation when trying out the different cars. Problem with this game, I think it focuses on too small of a crowd. The age range as to who would enjoy it the most doesn't really seem broad enough. And somehow, even with the selection of events to take part in, even with all the cars available to unlock, it still seems to be lacking some kind of diversity amongst all these different elements. It's not a bad racing game. Everything works. There's stuff to do. It controls fine. I just didn't find it to be a very memorable racing game. So this is another example of a game that I bought to play with my kids, and it's a good racing game to play alongside with them. I mean, realistically, we already have Mario Kart. We would have been just as good to stick with that. If I didn't have kids, it wouldn't have been worth it to pick this one up.